Right, a janitor of Ms. Motivator Health and Wellness Services here. I'm currently working with Ken Bartolo, who is a motivational speaker, and attempting to help him quit a very tough addiction, smoking. And I'm a certified tobacco treatment specialist through the Mayo Clinic. So I would like to, at this time, turn it over to Ken. We just did our first session, hour and a half long session yesterday. And I would like to turn it over now to him so that he can share with you his experience in working with me.
I have been smoking for 19 years, and honestly, for the last 4 or 5 years, I really wanted to stop, and couldn't figure out why I could not stop. And then I met Janet, and I started her program, and I've been fortunate enough not to have a cigarette since. I didn't know why I was smoking. I didn't realize I smoked over my emotions. I didn't know that, I had a physical addiction. And all the components of Janet's program were able to allow me to quit almost simultaneously because, I addressed the physical part, and then I'm addressing the emotional part, and I have plans for when I want to pick up a cigarette. And it's something I just couldn't do for 4 or 5 years. And then when I got involved with Janet and her program, it was... it just became very easy to not smoke anymore, and that was all I wanted.
That's awesome. What are some of the things that have helped you in particular so far?
Well, if at first, to address the physical addiction, I had to use the lozenges, which, that got rid of the cravings. And now I'm doing just behavioral therapy, how do I feel before I smoke, and just have, learning to deal with that emotion, then just pick up a cigarette and smoke it. A lot of the behavioral therapies, reading, and I've been doing charts of what I feel like when I'm going to smoke and how bad the craving is, and then we can go back and evaluate those and figure out what the real triggers are, because I think the addiction's triggered by when I get mad, or with me it's anxious and angry, and now that I recognize that, I can say, well, I'm just anxious, and sit through. You know what I mean? Distract myself for however long the craving lasts, and know that it was just anxiety or anger, rather than pick up a cigarette. I can just do stuff to delay the, anything. Pick up my lacrosse stick and twirl it around, or go outside and go for a walk, or, I have a list of things to do when I feel that way instead of pick up a cigarette.
Excellent. Would you like to share with us maybe some challenges that have been presenting themselves during this process?
Since we determined, which Janet has an awesome program of figuring out why you smoke, if it's mostly physical or emotional. Some of the hardest things, obviously the first thing is not picking up a cigarette. And the pharmaceutical treatment, just the lozenges, have helped with the craving. And they're getting me to the point where I can just recognize the warning signs, or I can recognize where I'm starting to feel like I need a cigarette. And when recognizing that you need it helps you before you just put it in your mouth, which is what I used to do, gives me time to sit back and say, okay, I'm just feeling anxious, I'm just feeling mad. I used to smoke when I was angry all the time, but I didn't know that until I started Janet's program and started writing down angry, and that gives me a craving sensation. And, I'm trying to avoid the emotion by picking up the cigarette. I didn't know that until I started Janet's program.
Okay, beautiful. Are there any other things that you would like to comment on, or any
I'm only on my
issues?
First session, and I'm looking forward to it. I've had a little bit of time away from smoking now, not a bunch, but the farther I get into it, I think the easier it'll be to put the cigarette down. And I would just say that I feel great. I feel great not having to smoke. I'm going to the gym. I'm doing all my work harder. Everything's gotten better since I stopped smoking. Everything. I have more energy. I sleep better. Gym and my social life, everything has improved. And it's just, it's been something that I've wanted to do all along, but I couldn't have done without help.
All right, beautiful. Thank you very much for sharing, Ken. And we will check in again after your second session.
Great.